We're going to listen to the Trimet lawyer explain the assistance animal policy on Trimet, and then I'm going to make some comments. So let's listen to Shelley Devine.
I really, frankly, don't believe they are service animals, and then I see others that clearly look like they should be in a dogfight, rather a ring rather than on our buses. So the question is anybody doing anything about that, or anybody talking about how to put some tighter parameters on that?
I'll let Shelley answer part of that in just a moment.
Oh, of course, come to our legal.
But this really is a national issue.
It is. I agree.
And so there have been many that have commented, well, why don't you license the dogs? Why don't you require some sort of proof?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the federal regulation prohibits that.
I understand that. So.
Just cut me off, okay, when you've heard too much, because this was something that we became very familiar with when the Department of Justice, back in 2010, issued their new definition of service animal, which is a dog only. But then the Department of Transportation, the FTA that Harry's referring to, did not adopt that definition and left the definition that we're guided by to be much broader than that. So
that's pretty interesting right there. The Department of Justice issued actual regulations, but somehow the Department of Transportation didn't adopt them. Now that's odd because the Department of Justice is the legal authority in the United States of America, not the Department of Transportation. So that's a little bit weird right there.
The bottom line is we can't ask for certification or anything like that because of the definition. The definition is that an individual with a disability who has personally trained an animal for a task or a service. And what the federal government said when they were considering this issue, this exact issue of, how can you prohibit animals that haven't been individually trained? We don't know whether they've been individually trained. So that's the short answer to why. But what we educate our public about, what we respond to our customers about when we get complaints, is we tell them that we do empower our operators to not allow an animal to board that is out of the control of their handler, that is not housebroken, or that is acting in an aggressive manner, or that is not leashed. So we have some controls. We aren't allowed to ask for certification. So.
And you haven't heard of anybody actually talking about amendments to the federal law? Or
no, in fact, that is why we waited 3.5 years to see if the FTA was going to actually catch up with the Department of Justice, and there's been no indication at all.
Okay.
As you know, I keep up on a lot of the things that are going on around the country when it comes to transit. It's my hobby. I enjoy reading about it. And it's not exactly true what you just said. I did some research about it and found a number of states who have adopted very clear rules about service animals. So Trimet in Oregon have made some kind of decision not to go further with this. Other states have gone further with this. So what she said is not exactly true. And I will post right now the states that actually have really clear regulations about service animals.